Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. Today we're going to sit down with the crew from Cosmonaut Magazine and we're going to learn all about it.
Systems activated. Systems on.
It's not every day we get to do something a little different on the channel, and so I'm really excited about that because this is actually a lot of fun to do. Today I'm going to sit down with the editor-in-chief for Cosmonaut Magazine. And for those that don't know, just really quickly, Cosmonaut Magazine is an in-lore Star Citizen magazine that's produced, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it because Souvarine, the editor-in-chief, well, I'm going to let you hear it from him. So do stay tuned. I do want to point out, this is about a 20-minute interview, so it's longer than our kind of normal spots for YouTube. That said, I learned some really interesting stuff about Star Citizen and actually Elite Dangerous in this interview, so I really encourage you to pay attention. I also have a giveaway for this video only, and that's going to come up in the interview, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, roll tape. As promised, I'm sitting down with Souvarine today to talk about the magazine Cosmonaut. And Souvarine here is the editor-in-chief. If you could, Souv, give us a quick elevator pitch on what Cosmonaut is and what your goals are for the magazine. I have explained it on the channel before, but I think it would be good to hear from you directly on the vision of the project.
Thanks for having me. Cosmonaut is the monthly online fan-made in-universe magazine for Star Citizen. We're into our 4th month now, I think, so we've just released our 3rd issue. We are well on the way to signing off our 4th. We want to make a magazine that celebrates Star Citizen from an in-universe perspective, to make the game's world more alive for its players. So that means that everything we do is player-driven rather than developer-driven. We cover events, we cover player groups, we cover org events, we cover we do things like ship reviews and exploration guides and that kind of thing as well. But really, it's a magazine for Star Citizen players by Star Citizen players. It's totally unofficial. We don't get any support from CIG at all. We just want to make the best magazine we can that celebrates everything about this amazing game completely set in the universe that they've created.
Could you tell us a little bit about the team that you've assembled? Who does what? How big is your team?
So the team is 9 people right now. I'm the editor. There are 2 writers, Marinis and Boldheart. There's the lead designer, Lex Moloch. We've got Krillakrov, who's an artist, and we've got 3 photographers, Scrubbery, Ash, and Zero Axis. And we've also got Lock147, who's our website and tech guy. It's a mix of professionals who do this kind of publishing work in their real lives, space sim players who I've met elsewhere and worked with before, and Star Citizen players that I came across and tapped up discreetly to join the project a few months ago. So it started off as a conversation between Lex Moloch and I, who's the other kind of brains behind it, I guess. And he's the lead designer. And we basically sort of we've wanted to do something like this for Star Citizen for quite a long time. And with the introduction of player progression sort of permanence, and the fact that player progression wasn't being wiped after every save, I think it was earlier this year, we decided that the time was probably right to, at that point for me, it stopped being a demo and started to be a game. Because at that point, once you could save your progress between patches, at that point, Star Citizen became a continuous journey rather than a demo that I logged into once every 3 months to see where it was at. Lex took to places like ArtStation and DeviantArt to seek out artists and designers. I went to forums and other Discord servers looking for writers, and we started to approach people who we knew loved space sims, who knew backed Star Citizen, who had the skills we needed, and the team was brought together in, I think the final one was brought on in probably April, something like that. The thing that is common is that we're all sort of passionate Space Sim fans, I guess.
Well, all that persistence and progression, and here I've kind of just realized we're both wearing the same pants and shirts. So,
They're a really good pants and shirt, though.
right? And you also did this in Elite Dangerous too, right?
We started a magazine called Sagittarius Eye in Elite Dangerous in, I think it was end 2017. I didn't actually start that. I was brought on very early on by the guy who set it up, and then he left pretty soon afterwards, and I took over from there. And that is we've just released our 27th issue of that magazine.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's been going for. We went down from monthly to quarterly most of a year ago because the Elite's sort of it was. Its dev cycle was getting longer and its community was getting quieter, and there was less and less to write about. So we took the decision last year to take that down to quarterly. And there's a little bit of a question mark over the future of that, because it really depends on how much there is to write about with Elite Dangerous in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But that magazine was founded on similar principles. We wanted and it's the same for Cosmonaut. We want a very high quality, glossy, in-universe publication that makes people go, "Wow, I really want to play that game." You know, that's the ultimate goal. We want something that makes people who haven't played Star Citizen look at it and go, "Wow, this is incredible! Like, this game must be awesome." If people are, if it's inspiring this kind of stuff from its fans, and that was the incentive with Sagittarius Eye with Elite Dangerous as well. We wanted to create something that made players really proud to be part of this game, and fostered a sense of community, and was kind of a player-driven news outlet as opposed to a dev-driven news outlet. And that philosophy carries through to Cosmonaut as well. We want it's completely fan-made, it's completely unofficial, and it's completely player-driven.
So, with all of that said about Elite Dangerous and the kind of slowing down dev cycle, I do kind of have to ask you, what are your thoughts on the new announcement for Odyssey with space legs?
Yeah, Odyssey. I was a very early backer for Elite and a pretty early backer for Star Citizen as well. And I backed both games when they were basically promising the same thing. I remember seeing in about 2013 a diagram. I think it was official. I'm pretty sure it was released by Elite devs, and it was a table, and it showed all the promised features of Elite Dangerous versus Star Citizen. And it was presented as a disambiguation thing, like, these are the key differences between the projects, like, for those who don't know. But in reality, it was sort of presented as this is why Elite is better. And in terms of planned features, Elites were nearly identical to Star Citizen. At that point, Star Citizen was still promising landing on planets at clearly defined landing zones rather than freeform landing anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Star Citizen at that point was promising landing zones rather than freeform landing anywhere. And Elite was saying that they were promising freeform landing on any part of any planet. And
Funny
it was
how that works, right?
Yeah. And it was first-person combat, fully modeled ship interiors that you could explore, seamless transitions with no loading screens between planets and ship interiors and space and space stations. And I backed both games for the same reason. I want that vision. David Braben famously said that he wanted to create a science fiction universe you could live in. Who doesn't want that? That's why we're all here. So that's why I bought Elite, and I've sort of been waiting for that game to deliver on that ever since, really. And as the years have gone on, it's become clearer and clearer that the ambition for Elite has diminished slightly. We've sort of come to the realization that actually those lofty ideals that David Braben talked about in 2012 and 2013 weren't necessarily top of the roadmap anymore. And then Odyssey was announced, and I guess I'm cautiously optimistic. I wouldn't say I'm excited for Odyssey, because there are too many questions. At the moment, what we know about it is that it involves First-person combat, well, it involves gun combat on planet surfaces, and that's about it. We don't know whether the transition from your ship to the planet's surface will be, get out of the flight seat, walk through your ship, get in an elevator, reach the planet's surface, step out onto a brave new world, a la Star Citizen, or whether it'll be a fade to black as a disguised loading screen. We haven't seen any cutscenes or heard anything from the devs along those lines. And my concern is that it's going to be a slightly arcadey mode, which is basically separate from the main game, and that to enter the first-person combat space leg stuff, it'll be a fade to black, or very very nearly a sort of a separate executable type thing.
So we're going to take a brief pause now, word from our sponsors, and while we're doing that, make sure you like and subscribe to this video, share it with your friends, and of course, check out Cosmonaut's website.
With courage, for honor, in strength, to glory.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Again, I'm talking with Suv here, and we're talking about the magazine Cosmonaut. So we were just talking a little bit about how they got started. They also do it in Elite Dangerous. So we're going to go ahead and jump back in here, kind of rewind a little bit back. And I just want to ask you, what does it take for you guys to put together an article, to put together an issue? What kind of time are we looking at? What's it take to produce each full issue of the magazine?
So each issue takes about 10 weeks to make. We work on quite long lead times. We generally start putting together our ideas for what the contents will look like about 10 weeks before release. First of all, at the ideation stage, the questions we're asking are, how many categories shall we have in this issue? At the moment, we've got 5 articles per issue. While we're getting, just because there's 3 writers, and we're getting a feel for how long, how many spreads each article takes up, and what our balance of imagery to text will be. How many ship reviews do we want? Should we put something about exploration in there? Is there a player event that's going on? Is there an org who are doing something exciting that we ought to be interviewing? And then once we've answered those and we know what the contents will be, we allocate articles between the writing team, and the writers will normally write 1 or 2 each. We normally leave ourselves about 3 weeks for article writing. At the same time, Krilakrov, our artist, will be doing his artwork, so he'll be sort of knocking up in-universe adverts for various in-universe corporations, which brings us on to the photographers. And normally, from as soon as we know what the articles of a given issue will be, normally the photographers at that point start getting out into game and taking screenshots. And there's 3 photographers, all of whom are completely fantastic. And they will look at the article briefs and go like, okay, right, well, this one is a travel guide to Clio, for example, or this one is a review of the Vanguard. Okay, well, let's go find one of those ships. Let's go to that planet. Let's take all the shots we need. Article submission happens normally about 3 weeks after, and then I get my red pen out and start editing. Editing normally takes me about a week or 2 weeks, and basically just go through and make sure that the articles are all of a consistent style and standard. The aim that we're going for, we want it to be the highest quality we can possibly make. We want this to be more impressive than CIG's in-universe ship brochures.
Well, I think you're nailing that.
Thank you. Our designer will be really pleased to hear that. After that's done, all the text is handed over to our designer. Lex is our sole designer at the moment, and he gets to work sort of laying the text out with the images that the photographers have got. When Lex is done and the design is done, we want the laid out PDF to be absolutely stunning and to be better than any one of those individual parts. And design is where it all comes together, really. Lex is an absolute genius.
So I have a question for you as well with that, talking about how you generate stories. If your audience had suggestions or story ideas, is there a way for them to send suggestions or submissions?
Yeah, the website is there's a submissions portal on our website. So if you go to www.cosmonautmagazine.com, there's a and scroll down, we've got a submissions page which has everything you need. It doubles up as a contact form, and we absolutely love submissions. We had a really great one on the history of Stanton, which we included in I think it's issue 3, and we thoroughly encourage readers to do that.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you want to write up, now you know how to get that submitted in. So I want to ask you a little more while we're talking about readers. How do readers, and obviously people that are already reading this understand this, but just so that new audience members might have a way to understand this, how do readers actually read the magazine? And is it free to read, or do you have to pay for it?
The magazine's completely free. It's totally free to read. We do it because we love Star Citizen, and it is the single most exciting video game project in the world. You can download the latest and all of our archive issues from our website. We have a mobile version as well, which is laid out more vertically, so it's better for mobile devices. I find that the best way to read it, I like reading it on my iPad. If you like a physical thing, we've got a Patreon page where if you pledge at a certain tier, you can have a print copy delivered to your home. And really, that is the ultimate way to read it. But actually holding it in your hands is something else. There is a real tangible thrill to high quality print media that PDF doesn't convey.
And I can say, just because I know you guys have sent me one of those physical copies, the print quality is incredible. It is the sort of publication that you really would, if you went to a magazine stand and bought a magazine, this is of the same quality. And I want to make sure I share that quality with the rest of you. So I'm going to give away a 1-year subscription for Cosmonaut from the channel so that somebody else can enjoy that too. All you need to do is comment down in the comment section below. I'm going to pick a winner from this video, and that'll be announced here shortly. But go ahead, make sure you comment down below. Make sure you're subscribed, because you have to be subscribed. And we'll go ahead, pick a winner, and someone is going to get a 1-year subscription to Cosmonaut, courtesy of Leadnap Gaming. So, kind of while we're on the question of issues, you guys have 3 issues out now. Can we get a preview maybe of some of the stuff coming up in the next issue?
We are covering in the next issue, we've got a review of the Vanguard series. We've got a, what else can I tell you? We've got an article about detailing the history of the, actually, hold on, I might have got that wrong. We're currently writing, and I'm currently editing issue 5. So actually, we're 2 issues in advance. What we've got coming up in the very near future is a big bio on the Vanduul. So a history of the Vanduul conflict and a history of humanity's interactions with them.
So, well, that's going to be really good now that they've just kind of re-shown us new Vanduul ships and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think that the Vanduul, from a narrative point of view, one of the things I like most about Star Citizen is that the amount of the thought that's gone into its world building it's got quite a lot of historical fidelity. And the Vanduul fascinate me because they on the face of it, you might dismiss them as, just another ugly antagonist race for a sci-fi franchise, but actually you dig into it more, and they're modeled on the Visigoths, on the tribes that harassed the Roman Empire during its decline, and that's informed their behavior and things like that. So I wanted to do a sort of a deep dive on their history and culture to basically flesh them out a bit more, so that players who, because not everybody wants to trawl through the RSI archives and read old blog posts from 2014 and stuff. But I wanted to present some of that information as and demonstrate that there is thought to their history and culture, and they are not just they're not just predator lookalikes that exist to be the big bad, if that makes sense.
It does. I didn't know that about the Visigoths. So when does that next issue come out?
The next issue releases on July the 10th.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty much right around the corner then. So just to kind of close this out, do you have any last closing thoughts for our audience? Anything else you want to let them know about the magazine?
I guess really just we just want people to know that we exist. We've been going since April the 12th. That's when issue 1 went live. And then issue 2 released in May we've just released issue 3, and yeah, issue 4 is just around the corner. But really, you know, we very, very few people know that we exist, and our readership is still very small. You know, we're putting quite a lot of work in, and we just want as many players to be able to enjoy the magazine as possible. It's made with love, by players, for players, and it's great that you're helping us sort of amplify that message, because success for us is the magazine being widely read and appreciated by as many players as possible. So that's what we're going for. So thank you for helping me do that.
Absolutely. I mean, and I definitely understand that. I wish my audience were bigger to help you with that mission too. What I can say, though, that I do know from communications I've had with CIG, they're aware of the publication. So there you guys all have it, our interview with Souvarine and Cosmonaut. And like I said before, I'll be giving away a free copy for an annual subscription, and they are looking for readership. It's absolutely free. Seriously, guys, go check it out because you really don't want to miss it. It's got great stuff. The articles are very well laid out, and if you haven't seen it yet, we're not kidding about professional quality. They really, you would probably believe it was coming from something at CIG. With that said, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I will catch you all next time.